Are you struggling not getting your first job or leveling up as a software engineer because you don't have enough experience in the field? And you're frustrated because everyone keeps telling you to get more experience, but you're not sure how to get experience without experience? In this video, I'm going to break down exactly how to get that experience as a junior developer or developer wanting to level up or change the type of engineering that they do in this video. These are all things I've done as someone that studied business, didn't have a technical background, and then went from that to working at companies like GitLab and other Fortune 500 companies in Silicon Valley. And at the end of this video, I'm going to break down these job descriptions that might seem unrealistic and how to decipher how your experience levels up to what they're expecting of you in the job market. All right, so how do we get experience without experience? That's a great question, and we're off to a good start because you're asking the right questions. But it's something you need to be careful of content creators on YouTube telling you to make things like portfolios and pet projects to get you this experience. And it's really dangerous and misguided information. And the reason for that is it feels productive. It's dangerous because it feels productive, but it doesn't actually get you closer to the goal to eliminate these fears that these employers say they have about you not having experience. And we're going to walk through how to get that. Lucky for you, software engineering is one of the easiest domains to get experience without having experience, because as a community, it's built on this thing called open source software. Open source is just kind of a fancy term for software that is decentralized and open to use and contribution. Almost everything that big companies use to build their softwares on the internet is open source. React.js is open source. The JavaScript node runtime is open source. Your command line tools, NVM, all that stuff is open source. You can go contribute to it right now, and we're going to talk about that. But we also get to benefit as a community and use these tools without having to make them ourselves or pay someone for them. So instead of doing pet projects, making portfolios, doing tutorials, stuff like that, we're going to focus actually on doing the job that you're applying to do. And we get better by doing free work and getting mentorship in exchange for that free work to level our skill up, to have portfolio pieces to then show employers and hiring managers, so that you can not only land your first couple of jobs, but your dream job. So what projects are out there and how do I contribute to them? Another great question. You're on a roll. So when I was starting out as an engineer, the one thing I cared about when picking an open source project was knowing that that project was used by most of the community in the front-end engineering space, because I was looking at jobs as a front-end engineer and I was trying to get experience and clout when going into an interview or interviewing at a company. This is because when I walked into an interview or I talked to a hiring manager, director of engineering, or senior front-end engineer, if I was contributing to a project like ESLint, that's a common tool all teams use if you're worth your salt, it sounded pretty impressive and was like, oh wow, like he's contributing to a product that I consume. That instantly gave me an advantage. Now think about it when you're like at your friend's barbecue and you meet someone that works at Google or Airbnb or Facebook or some tool that or some product that you use, right? Like that's pretty impressive. You're just like, oh wow, I immediately have a connection with this person. Maybe I love Airbnb and like I travel around the world using Airbnbs and this person's building that product. I immediately have an affinity towards that person and I'm immediately impressed by them. This is all a great start, but I wish I did things a little bit differently than I did when contributing to ESLint and tools like that. At the time I was looking at applying to roles at competitive companies like Airbnb, Google, Meta, stuff like that. And instead of focusing my time on tools, which is still very beneficial contributing to open source, I wish I had focused on doing that, but working on front-end problems that I could then use as a portfolio piece, because I would be leveling my skill set up and have this kind of talking piece when going into an interview and having that relationship with the interviewer contributing to something that they use. There are a few companies out there that offer this, where you can contribute to front-end development or back-end development or anything like full-stack development. But the one I have the most experience with, because I've worked there and I have contributed to outside of that, is GitLab. GitLab is a for-profit company worth billions of dollars, but their main product is open source that allows you as an engineer to go online and find an issue and contribute to their documentation, to their front-end code, to their back-end code, to their database code, to everything for you to become a better engineer. The engineers that work there are amazing, and you're getting mentorship from some of the best software engineers in the world. So you're getting resume pieces to share that you can put on your resume. You're contributing back to a community. You're getting mentorship for some of the best engineers in the world. This is going to set you up for your first job, your second job, your better job, your dream job. Now, it's free work, but wouldn't you rather pay the cost down now and level up than just keep doing pet projects and never get to where you want to go? Now, regardless of you contributing to open source for your own personal gain and benefit, you're going to have to contribute to open source in your career anyways, because it's a community that you take from all the time, that you might have an issue that you'll need to give back to. You'll need to read their documentation. You'll need to collaborate. So might as well get good at this skill now. Because when you're at work and at a job and there's a tool that you use that isn't working the way you think, you might think there's a bug or you need an improvement, you're going to have to contribute to open source. You have to make the world a better place than how you left it and that you take from. And for your own personal benefit, you contributing to open source is replicating the exact environment that you're going to be working in. You're going to learn things like asynchronous communication, validating a bug exists, breaking down a feature, learning development cycles, learning how to branch on Git, learning how to resolve merge conflicts, learning how to use Git. All of these things that you need to do to be on a successful engineering team, you're going to learn when contributing to open source that you will not learn in a pet project, portfolio piece, tutorial that you just feel like you're being productive in. So in the beginning of the video, I told you I would help you break down these unrealistic expectations that you're seeing on these job descriptions. You need 10 years of experience in React.js as a junior developer. Okay, you probably have 1 year of experience. Do you even apply? Well, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. The people writing these job descriptions don't know the difference between JavaScript and React. I'm not joking. These job descriptions are unrealistic at best, but the people that are screening you on these, when you throw your resume into the abyss, don't know that. So they look for 10 years of React experience and then disqualify you for a junior role. To succeed getting your first, second job without that much experience, without recruiters knocking on your door, you really need to go away from the recruiter, you submit your resume, to the engineer or engineering manager on the team. Those people will know much more about the requirements for the role than the person screening. I know it's super counterintuitive, but you as an inexperienced developer need to go upstream to the person actually making the decision who knows what they're looking for. Why this is important is because you can spend years sending thousands of resumes out into the abyss, never hearing back, think you're not qualified. Well, I just told you the people writing those things aren't qualified to be screening you against the role. And it's unfortunate, but this is okay because we know what's going on. We just have to play the game a little bit differently and get a little bit more experience, and then things will become easier. So remember, don't just submit your resume. Try and find the person in charge or the senior engineer on the team who will know how to qualify you based on the role. So to recap these points, point number 1, how do we get experience without experience as a junior developer, or we want to level up as an engineer? We contribute to open source projects. It doesn't matter what it is. I personally prefer ones that are close to the job you're doing. If you want to be a backend engineer, you contribute to backend. GitLab has backend tickets you can take. Same thing for front end. Maybe you just want to contribute to Rails or Bundler or something like that. That's totally fine, but find something that when you walk into an interview, the engineer on the other side uses that tool in their daily practice. That'll carry much more weight than contributing to a project that they've never heard of that you think sounds cool. Number 2, job descriptions are just made up. Don't stress about it. Let's play the game a little bit differently. Don't submit your resume if you're trying to get those first few jobs or you're changing engineering types from front end to back end. Let's go upstream and target the engineering manager, the hiring manager, or one of the engineers on the team to get an informational interview to learn more about the role. Those people will be able to qualify you better and you'll have a higher chance of succeeding. Good luck out there. I know it's hard. I know this is hard and you question if this is even worth doing on a daily basis. I've been there. But if this is something you really want to do, it's an amazing career with amazing people. If you don't give up, you cannot lose. If you enjoyed this video, I recommend that you check out this other video I made titled The Resume That Made Me Over $1 million in Silicon Valley, somewhere over here on the top of the screen. And the reason why I say you should watch it is because you'd be surprised what actually matters when it comes to resumes in Silicon Valley. So if you're looking for that job, you're kind of in that stage, I recommend checking it out and hope it provides some value and you like it. As always, thank you so much for watching and spending your time watching this video, interacting with the channel. Let me know if I can be of any assistance in the comments below.